All right. Welcome back to the DSO Business Forum. Give everybody a chance to start logging in. I hope you guys had a good quick break and ready to get back after it. Seeing we're starting to get logins here, so I'm going to give everybody just a minute. I think it's been just a great conversation throughout the day, and once again, having an environment where it is solution focused. And I know talking talking with a number of the doctors in the space and operators in the space that there is so much out there, and sometimes it can be a little bit daunting. And it's great to have a one forum that showcases different solutions and also even the areas that solutions have been created for. Sometimes we don't know what we don't know, and to be able to see that not only that's an issue, but there's also a solution for it can be enlightening. So really glad to have that. As you guys are tuning in and joining this afternoon, if you have any questions for tech support, if you have an audio issue or video issue or something in that neighborhood, or you just want to talk to Dave and Jillian who are running the show in the background, you can do that. You're going to do that in the chat feature over there on that side of the screen, hopefully for you. Put all that in there. Also, if you want to put where you're watching from today, like right now I'm broadcasting from Golden, Colorado, where it's a balmy 47 degrees, I believe. It's a little chilly today. All my friends back in Texas down there are probably a little bit jealous of that. But you can put all that over in the chat there. And if you have any questions for Alan, you can put that in the question and answer piece down there at the bottom of the screen down there. So put that in there, and without further ado, we're going to get started here, and we have a couple of speakers coming up after this, so y'all hang tight for Sarah Ruberg and Dr. Ryan Hungate. But right now, I'm pleased to welcome Alan Schwartz, and Alan's just going to be talking about filling the data void in a very dynamic market. Now, Alan is a sales professional with over 35 years of experience, specializing in creative solutions to solve evolving industry challenges. He offers world-class sales and consulting services, as well as dentistry and media expertise through an honest, integrous, and client-first approach. Some of his accomplishments include he sold $110 million dental media, or $10 million in dental media since 2007, more than any other media group or sales team. Since 2000, developed the ADA Vendor Showcase email blast program, which accrued $12 million in sales alone. He spearheaded a best-in-class database with 22,000 plus C-suite executives and 60,000 plus dentists employed by dental support organizations, filling a market void and ensuring client satisfaction through dynamic data solutions, and has partnered with over 600 dental companies on their marketing solutions. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Alan. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today, and we're really glad to have you here. Let's see, Alan, do you got us in there?
I do, but I just see you still. So are we on?
Yep, you're good to go. I'm going to go.
All right. Well, I just want to thank everybody for this opportunity. I should have checked with Glenn and what he was going to read there. It sounds so impressive, but what I really want to do is thank Dreamscape for having us on today and being a part of this panel. I am going to talk to them about putting me on after the Amal, the AI expert, the smartest guy on the panel, and after lunch too. So it's what a slot to be put in. But all kidding aside, super pleased to be here. Really, the bottom line in terms of, I know Glenn wrote or read that very nice intro. My whole career has been in dental for 35 years. And the whole focus of my career and really how it got started is solving problems, coming up with creative solutions. I started in 1986. Was a small group of people. We launched the first dental products magazine in Asia. The challenge was there were no dental products magazines in Asia, and we needed one to serve the entire Asia Pacific rim. We did that. We launched the publication and went on to launch them in Asia, Latin America, Brazil, Russia, and Poland. After that, I moved to the domestic market and got to spend some time in the dental publishing world. That's where I met my current business partner, Jim Chevelle. We created a company called S&S Media Solutions. Again, we wanted to sell media differently. We wanted to create solutions for people to overcome the challenges that they were faced with. That led to our winning the contract with the American Dental Association. We spent 15 years with the American Dental Association. We went into that thinking that the challenge was to rebuild the relationship between the ADA and the industry. And what we found out was the ADA had tremendous amount of information about who their dentists were, but they didn't really know their likes and interests, and really they hadn't created a persona around those members. So in this window of everything going from print to digital, we created a solution for the ADA where we were able to build personas on their membership and then serve content to the members that made sense to the members and also to the ADA and to our industry partners. So that's how we got here. The last 4 or 5 years in working with the ADA, many of our meetings started out with people coming to us saying, we need help with DSOs. We need help understanding the DSO space. We want to know who the DSOs are. We want to know who the DSO dentists are. We need your help. And under our agreement with the ADA, we weren't able to really do that, nor was the ADA interested. So we decided to take a big leap of faith and get into and try and solve this problem of understanding what was going on and what is the data. There was no quality data in the DSO space. So I'm going to share a slide here. Let me just get this up. And so really, all that to say, my entire time in the dental market and my time, especially with Jim Chevelle, my business partner, we've tried to figure out ways to create solutions for major problems. So the problem initially was there is no high quality, updated, usable, navigable data surrounding DSOs, the dentists at the DSOs, and the industry at large. So I'm going to share a couple obligatory data slides with you, and then I'll get into a specific challenge in the space right now where data has come into play, and DSOs like yours have been able to leverage the data to come up with some creative solutions for the problem. I think this is very interesting. Right now in the DSO space, we get asked all the time, and I know Brian Kaleo and a lot of other experts on this panel get asked all the time, you know, how much of dentistry is being done by the DSO versus traditional, the traditional method. And we just ran a number with the total number of dentists that we're tracking in the DSO space against the total licensed dentists. And it's pretty interesting that the ADA data shows there's 208,000 total licensed dentists in the US. Of that 208, though, we know that about 190,000 of those are actually practicing chairside. And of those 190,000, only 160,000 of those dentists are practicing chairside 30 hours or more. So when you think about that, if you think about the universe of dentists that are practicing 30 hours or more chairside, and then you contrast it with the number of DSO dentists that we're now tracking in our system, it is a significant number. It's significantly higher than the 30% shown here. And it more lines up with the 35% that I showed you, that I'm going to show you here, or I showed you in the earlier slide. What does that mean in terms of locations? Right now, we are able to tie DSOs to 35,000 individual locations, affiliated locations. And over here, you'll see we break down our DSO tracker by groups that have a certain number of locations. So an elite DSO will have 75 or more locations. Mid-market will have somewhere between 10 and 74. Small and emerging, 3 to 9. So these groups that we're tracking actually represent 35,000 locations in our space. My entire career, and right or wrong, I don't have the complete data on this, but we've always said that the overall market, the overall number of offices is somewhere in the $100,000 location, or excuse me, the 100,000 locations in the total US market. So at 35,000 locations, that's a very significant number. So for today's, that's all background. What I really wanted to share with you is how the data that we've been able to track, and data in general, it's not just all about our data, but I want to use what our experience and our data, obviously in this case, how data can really help you overcome a challenge. So I looked through, as we were preparing for this, I looked through a lot of the media outlets out there, including our own. And this is what I found. So I think it's pretty obvious what the media or what one of the primary challenges that our DSO organizations are facing right now, and it's a staffing challenge. There are people in the Great Resignation, and then with the COVID accelerator on top of that, it's been a very, very difficult challenge. So how would good quality data help your organization manage and get out in front of and overcome this challenge of staffing? And I know it's not just dentists, it's hygienists, it's other staff, but just for today's discussion, I want to just focus on one challenge. And I know also that there are people from across all kinds of the whole spectrum of the DSO that are going to watch this, or are watching it now. You can apply the principles of the data that I'm going to show you to any challenge, but for this conversation, let's just look at that staffing. Data is key to really understand the greater picture, right? It's key to understand, where does my organization fit in to the kind of the macro picture of things. And once you understand where you fit into that, data is going to help you drive and support, the action items that you need to take to overcome different challenges or to get where you want to get to. And then finally, with good quality data, we always need to be thinking short-term, medium, and long-term. Right now, short-term staffing is a real problem, but it's going to be a problem for some time to come. So what are your short-term, your medium, and your long-term solutions? First, you need to find a data set that's going to allow you to accomplish what you need to accomplish. This is just a screenshot of the DSO DataCONNECT platform. This is the entry page when you come into our portal. And right now we are tracking 2,491 groups that have 3 or more locations. Now, there isn't a standard universal definition that's widely used or accepted right now in our industry. So when we got started down this road a number of years ago, we asked our data acquisition team, go and find organizations that have 3 or more locations. They find it, they hand it off to a Fortune 150 company that handles healthcare, about 145 million healthcare records, and they then backfill the data. And so this is where we are today. We're now tracking 2,491 DSOs, groups that have 3 or more locations. We've been able to tie 62,000 DSO dentists to that data and 22,000 corporate contacts to the data. So I'm going to stop now. I'm going to jump into the live portal for just a second here. All right. So I'm going to actually risk it and go live and trust the internet. All right, so now I'm live in the portal, and I wanted to share with you the data that's available and how some people are using it. So I just jumped into the corporate data set. The corporate data set, these are the corporate decision makers for the 2,400, almost 2,500 DSOs in the platform. So if you wanted to come over here and you knew somebody at a DSO, you knew their name, maybe you wanted to search by the DSO name, maybe you wanted to understand who are the CEOs for all of these DSOs, you could put in title, you could search that way. You make it real easy. You could search by different levels within the organization. You could search by DSOs. A lot of our users use the data differently when they're talking to groups that have 3 to 9, 10 to 75, etc. So this screen is the corporate side of things. But for our challenge, for what we're talking about, we want to talk about the DSO dentist side for a second. We have groups that are really faced with some very difficult staffing situations. And so one of the things that has come up in our collaboration with them is they've been able to, I think I saw on the chat earlier that somebody was here from Raleigh, North Carolina. Let's say you have a group in Raleigh, North Carolina, and you have a real staffing problem, and you want to identify doctors in your area that already live and work in your area, that already have the skill sets that you're looking for, and that already have an understanding of what it's like to work with a DSO. You can come over here, you could search by their name, you could search by their NPI number, you could search by the DSO they're working at. But let's just say you just want to go and see, I wonder who the dentists are in, it'd be helpful if I could spell it right, in Raleigh. And then you put in the state. And then you hit search. So there's 115 dentist records. These are dentists now that are tied to DSOs that are working in the Raleigh area. This is a tremendous tool for you, and we'll get into the specifics on that in a second. But let me just show you, give you an idea. The left side of the tile right here is information about the doctor. So in this case, we've got first, last name, gender, email address, phone number, NPI, LinkedIn handle. And over here on the right-hand side, we've got information all about the group that they're currently working with. And in this case, they've got 4 locations and their headquarters. And then we have their web address if you wanted to jump into the website to see, there's been a lot of talk about culture. There's been a lot of talk about things. You could jump into the website, get a feel for what kind of a practice that they're working at. We could even, with the data, take it a step further, and this is something that's brand new, and this is kind of in sandbox for us right now, but right now we're overlaying insurance data over our records so that you could actually come in and begin to type in, let's just say, go in and type in a procedure code to see if you could find dentists that are actually in your area, working for a DSO, but also are doing a particular procedure that's important to you in the practice. So this whole program was built so that people would have a solid data set to do any number of things. But in the case we're talking about, this gives DSOs an opportunity locally, very local. You can get right down to zip code, regionally and nationally, to put together a plan to overcome the staffing problem. There are doctors out there. You just need to identify them and find ways to connect with them so that when they're ready to make a move, or when you're ready to make an offer, you know who they are, you know their background, you have the data at hand to do it. One of the things also that we built, and we built it, this is so many of the features in our data set has come from conversations with groups like yours that said, well, we go down this road with somebody and then we realize they're part of somebody much bigger. We have an organizational chart to help that. So let's say, I'm just going to use Smile Brands as an example. let's say you're talking to a doctor and you don't know that they work for Smile Brands, they work for A+ Dental Care. So let's say you found a doctor here in Lincoln and you went into this practice in Lincoln. Well, this is the location of the practice in Lincoln, but this will tell you, wait a minute, they're actually part of a much larger group. So this helps your recruiter, that helps your team shortcut any frustration with going down a road and then realizing later that they're part of a larger group, and that might influence your decision somehow. So I'm gonna go ahead and back out of the program here. 1 second. And I'm back to this. I'm going to go over here. So just showing you that data, there's 4 interesting ways that DSOs like yours have used this particular data set to overcome the staffing problem. There's a group out of Bloomington, Minnesota that we're working with, and they were having all kinds of staffing problems. And the main path that they took was they wanted to understand who are the groups, both on the corporate side, who are those leaders, decision makers in the DSO, and also in the dentist side, and on the dentist side in their area. And they created, they outreached using our data. They created some outreach, and they're now meeting with people in their same situation, and they've created groups where they're talking about how to overcome the problem in their particular region. So connecting with others that are facing the same problem is a great solution, because chances are they have some great ideas. The other thing is, we've had a group in Indiana that in a certain area, they've created local and regional staff sharing, because they're able to reach out and understand who they have in their area. A lot of it's built around the specialists, but they are sharing across their entire office in this program. Some of the larger groups have taken a long-term approach where they're creating and using all the things that we've talked about today, social media, SEO, all these different things, to create a piece of content that they're sending to DSO dentists across the country, where they can begin to understand a little bit about the DSO dentists that are out there, build personas on them, but at the same time be sharing information that's of interest to these doctors, but also be sharing their own culture and their own position, so that if a doctor is thinking about making a change, or a staff member, they're aware of the organization and would probably reach out earlier. And then in short term, we are seeing a lot of companies or DSOs that are using our data and our ability to connect them to reach directly out and make offers and encourage doctors and other staff to come and take a look at the open positions that they have.
Yep, wonderful. I just want to jump real quick, Alan. One of the things that's exciting to me about the work that y'all do is that a number of times whenever we're talking with different DSO operators about what their goals are and how they're expanding, is that one of the things we hear the most is like, we just want to attract new doctors. We want to attract, but they oftentimes are asking us how to do that. And you guys, you need to talk to the guys at DSO DataCONNECT, like talk to them, like they're there, right? Like it's not a mystery. And we can create a platform where like the meetings can be held, but the information is out there. And I think that's something that is oftentimes surprising. It's definitely a benefit here in this space. Real quick before we wrap, we're running up against it, and want to make sure that we have time for people to take a break before chatting with Sarah's. Where can people find you next? Where are you going to be out and about and continue this conversation?
Yeah, well, I'm going to be at the I will be at the DSO Leadership Summit, and I'm going to be I apologize here. I'm going to be at the DSO Leadership Summit, and I'm going to be at the Dental Trade Alliance meeting in November in San Diego. But you can always reach us at DSO DataCONNECT Jim and I spend about 90% of our time on Zoom calls with people from all parts of industry, and collaborating. Our specialty is really coming up with solutions, apply the data, but come up with solutions to overcome the challenges that they're faced with right now. So.
Absolutely. Look, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being a part of this today. If you'd like to continue the conversation and want us to connect you guys, you can reach out here. We just really appreciate the work that y'all are doing in the space here and how you are continuing to make those connections and grow the field. So really appreciate that. Any final thoughts before we move on and give everybody a quick break?
No, I'm really appreciative of being here, and I like what you guys have done here. I learned a lot watching the other sessions, and I would encourage everybody to finish out the last few.
Right on. Well, thank you so much, Alan. Really appreciate that. And with that, we're going to sign off. We'll be back here at 2:40 Eastern time for Sarah Ruber. Really excited to see what she's bringing to this group today, and we'll see you guys soon. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.